Today, I'm riding all 20 TfL rail lines. That's all 11 underground lines, all 6 overground lines, the DLR, the Elizabeth line, and the trams. But that's not all. I'm going to be riding them in alphabetical order, from Bakerloo all the way to Windrush. I'm starting here at Piccadilly Circus to take off the Bakerloo line, where the challenge will begin, and I'm hoping to complete it all in under 8 hours. While I do that, let's find out. The Bakerloo line has the oldest train still running on the tube, the 1972 stock. While graffiti has definitely taken over the trains, the seats are quite charming and I will definitely miss them. Anyway, I went one stop to Oxford Circus, the only place where the Bakerloo meets the Central line. So now let's talk about the rules of this challenge. Buses and other train operating companies are allowed, repeating lines I've already ridden is also allowed. The only real condition is that I cannot ride a TfL line until I've ridden everything that comes before it in the alphabet. And welcome to Liverpool Street, where we're going to change from the Central to the Circle. Liverpool Street's escalators are quite unique, kind of like the predecessor to the Elizabeth line. Anyway, let's get on my first S-Stock train of the day, as we get on the Circle line, just a couple stops to Tower Hill. At Tower Hill, I had thought my District line train was the one across the platform, but it was just a place for a train that was terminating to rest. I had to go to the other platform to get the District towards Upminster, including passing through Whitechapel, which is somewhere we'll be again very soon.
Alright, Boat Road, now changing to the DLR and Boat Church. We're about 40 minutes in. Yeah, basically exactly 40 minutes in. I think I'm making good progress, but it's gonna get a lot harder from here.
Here comes my DLR train, which I will be taking to Stratford. This bit of the DLR is actually single-tracked for a little while. Probably one of the coolest parts of the entire network. But now we're coming up to the approach to Stratford. You can see the Olympic Stadium and plenty of other development around the area. But you see that's the Elizabeth line train that I was hoping to make, and I'm about to miss it.
Well, here we are again. It's always such a pleasure.
Even though I was stuck at Stratford for a few minutes, it's a great place to watch trains. But anyway, I need to get the Elizabeth line and I'm going back to Whitechapel to get our next line to Hammersmith and City.
This is an Elizabeth line service to Paddington. The next station is Whitechapel.
So that's the Elizabeth line complete, and here is that trademark escalator that you see across the core stations. Next is the Hammersmith and City line, which is parallel to the District. We're going to use some of the same stops we already passed through. But I'm going a little bit further, all the way out to West Ham. And here we are. Next up is the Jubilee line.
Alright, we're at West Ham next to the Jubilee. I bet you'll never guess where I'm going to take the Jubilee to.
Okay, the train wasn't actually that fast, but I was kind of hoping that it would be, because now I need to rush to the Elizabeth line again, because I need to go up to Romford, which is where the Liberty line is, And if I don't make it in time, I might miss the Liberty line at Romford and have to wait there for another 30 minutes. That's how infrequent that line is. So you can tell I'm pretty nervous, but unfortunately...
Oh, there it goes. Okay, I'll admit now, I'm very nervous. Alright, so here's the situation. That Shenfield train that I missed was crucial because it would have given me a 10-minute transfer at Romford, which is much more comfortable than what I'm going to have now, just a 2-minute transfer. So I have to really hope that this train doesn't get delayed. It is on time right now, but if anything happens on the way to Romford...
This train is formed of 9 coaches.
So yeah, while trains to Romford are quite regular, the train that I want at Romford only runs every half an hour. And now that I got on this train, you would think everything is going well, but the fact of the matter is, when I get to Romford, I'm going to have 2 minutes to make it to the Liberty Line platform, and I'm about to realize that I have made an absolutely silly mistake getting on the Elizabeth line. You probably already know what it is, and if you don't, you just saw what that mistake was.
Well, it was at this moment that I realized I am incredibly silly. There is a non-stop Greater Anglia from Stratford to Romford that I should have gotten instead of this. It's going to overtake this. I think it might have already overtaken this, and I think it's going to be at Romford in a couple minutes, and we're still like a few stations out. So yeah, that one's entirely on me for not noticing that that's a possibility. Okay, Romford is the next station. So far, we're still on time. In fact, I think we're like half a minute early, from what I've been able to gather. I don't think British trains are usually early though. So I've tried to look at a map, tried to look at photos to make sure that I'm in the best position in the train to be right at the ramp in case I have to make a run for it, which is very likely. Come on. It's still there. Alright, we're leaving. So glad I made it. Sounds like the people behind me also need to run for it.
This is a Liberty Line train to Upminster.
This train isn't going faster than 50 kilometers an hour. This is effectively London Seaboard, except actual Seaboard is a lot faster. Alright, that took a little bit longer than I thought it would. But my next train is in like 10 minutes, so I'm probably gonna tap out, reset my oyster, probably grab a quick bite if I can. Alright, so far we've done Bakerloo, Central, Circle, District, DLR, Elizabeth, Agency, Jubilee, and Liberty. That's 9 out of 20. Next is the Lioness. That one's gonna be also pretty hard to get to.
The next line is the Lioness, which is also pretty hard to get to, so I need to go in the Jubilee line to Swiss Cottage.
Alright, This is Swiss Cottage. We're finally about to get a new line, but first check this out. Alright, I've just heard the train arrive. Was it a 7:10?
We're pulling into Euston, where you can see an Avanti West Coast train just departing, but instead of getting on a fancy train to the north of England, I have to run around doing a bunch of silly out-of-station interchanges.
Alright, I got good news and bad news. The good news is we are halfway done the challenge. We've done 10 out of the 20 lines.
The bad news is my next train, the Metropolitan line, is not at Euston, but the adjacent Euston Square.
Alright, so I'm gonna get the Metropolitan now, which will get me to Finchley Road, and this particular service I'm getting is what's known as semi-fast.
This is Euston Square. This is a semi-fast Metropolitan line train to Cheshire.
The Metropolitan line is really cool, and I'm gonna make a whole video about it very soon. But for now, let's go to Finchley Road and Frognal.
Alright, this is Finchley Road and Frognal, one of those stations with a beautifully long name. Unfortunately, my streak of 7:10s is over, but let's go to Camden Road.
Here's the Maldmay line, our third overground line. It's quite a long one and is pretty useful, but I'm only taking it a few stops.
Okay, Camden Road. Now I made my way to the one tube station in London I hoped I would never have to go to. So I do wonder now how many OSIs in a row am I going to be making. OSI, by the way, out of station interchange. When you have two stations that are close to each other, you transfer between them. So I've done South Hampstead to Swiss Cottage. That was one. Then I did Euston to Euston Square. That's two. Finchley Road to Finchley Road and Frognal is 3. It's this way. And now I'm doing Camden Road to the Forbidden Tube Station, which is 4 in a row. I think we might even get to 5 or 6 soon.
So why don't I like Camden Town? Well, it's on the Northern Line, my least favorite tube line, but it's also very congested due to its poor design. But alas, I'm running the Misery Line, as it's sometimes called, which does still fit perfectly in the alphabet, all the way out to King's Cross St. Pancras, the tube station with the most lines. Our next line is indeed at this station. It is time for the Piccadilly, arguably London's most famous tube line. I took the line all the way out to Manor House for the longest OSI yet.
Okay, this is the part of the run where things start to get super annoying. Alright, looks like I'm 3 for 4 on 7:10s. Let's try the Suffragette line, aka the Goblin. It's only gonna be one stop. Yet again, another line out for only one stop.
So this is the Suffragette line, formerly the Gospel Oak to Barking line. Quite a busy freight corridor initially, but since the overground reran has had quite healthy service of every 15 minutes on it, which for a very suburban line is pretty good.
I'm hoping to catch a bus to Finsbury Park, because I could walk it, but I'd rather not.
So then I boarded what at the time was my first ever Thameslink train, got annoyed at the lack of legroom, rail fanned a little, watched the scenery, checked the stopwatch at just the right time, if you know you know, and ate a crappy 4-pound sandwich. Interestingly, Thameslink isn't required for this challenge since it isn't a TfL service, but it is on the tube map, and it just so happened the Thameslink fit perfectly in the alphabetical order. So yeah, I guess I can rebrand this as the 21 rail lines on the tube map in alphabetical order. Well, to be fair, I didn't ride the cable car, but is that really a rail line? I'll let you guys decide in the comments. In another first for me, I made it down to East Croydon to get on my first ever ride on the Croydon tram link. East Croydon is a massive rail station and has quite a unique southern service that I will be checking out in another future video. But for now, we're heading through the streets of Croydon in London's only tram system. But once we get on this flyover, which is quite unique for a tram I must say, we get onto what the heart of the system really is. A bunch of abandoned rail lines that have been converted into use for the trams that allow them to get quite fast in some parts. Anyway, this is Mitcham Junction, and I'm getting on Thameslink for a second time to make it back into the city. Now you guys have been watching for so long, so you deserve something a little bit different.
Now it's time for a
Toilet.
review.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's using this. No one at all.
Alright, Elephant and Castle. Now it should be a pretty straight shot to the final 4 lines. Victoria, Waterloo and City, Weaver, and Windrush. Feeling pretty good about sub 8, but I'm not gonna jinx it just yet.
The plan from here was to get to the Victoria line, which I first needed to do by getting on the Northern line, again, out to Stockwell. And here at Stockwell I made my way to the Victoria line, where I would take it up to Vauxhall. Now the Victoria line is a lot of people's favorite tube line in London, and it is an absolute rocket, and was designed to connect places that already had strong connections, acting as somewhat of a relief line. Today though, while I love the Victoria line for that purpose, I just cannot get over how much it stinks. Anyway, here at Vauxhall, I'm getting on South Western Railway on a class 455, which is quite old. I'm taking it just one stop to South Western's main hub of Waterloo. South Western has plenty of other trains, including the beautiful Arterios, but I don't have time to ride those today. I'm riding the shortest tube line next, the Waterloo and City, which wasn't even part of the London Underground until very recently. At least, very recently in terms of overall tube history. It just runs between Waterloo and Bank, and at Bank I got back on the Central line to Liverpool Street again, where I would be getting onto the second to last line of our trip, the Weaver line. This is a complex network of suburban lines that is branded as one in the overground network, and while it is prone to delays, it is incredibly popular.
Alright, Bethnal Green. We're now 19 out of 20 lines. All I have to do now is walk to Whitechapel and just get the first Windrush in any direction and take it one stop, and the challenge will be over. I think we'll be good for 8 hours. Tell you what, it's sure gonna be close, but I think we'll do it.
So there it is, our final line, the Windrush line, formerly the East London line, which was a tube line for a little bit, which is why some of the stations have very tube-like design motifs. But I only have to take this one stop, so I'm getting ready to stop the timer the moment the doors open at our next stop, Shadwell.
And that's it. There we go. All 20 TfL lines in alphabetical order from Bakerloo to Windrush in under 8 hours. I'm exhausted.
So there you have it, probably the silliest challenge I've ever done. I think it is possible to get a better time, but I'm not entirely sure if there is a completely different route that would do that, or just doing my same route but a little bit quicker. But that is all for this video today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more sort of silly challenges like this around London, and hopefully soon more parts of the UK, then feel free to subscribe and stay tuned for my next uploads. The next one is going to be pretty football themed if you're into that.